Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Double A Team broadcast live stream edition on this Saturday, August 17th. It's good to be back. Ken and I are back together for the first time in a while. So I'm your host, Stephen Negishi, and my co-host, Ken Fang from Awful Announcing. And Ken, thanks for joining me on this Saturday. It's been a while, and I know you've had some nice guests while I was away for work, and couldn't make the scheduling make it on the weekdays, weeknights especially, unfortunately. But you've had some nice guests. I believe you had Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer, the soccer writer, this past Wednesday, I believe. Was it Wednesday?
Yeah,
we had Wednesday night, and it was I was able to listen while I was at work, and great job, and just so nice to be back here again. A lot of things to catch up on, because between now since then, last time we did together, obviously the biggest the news certainly we'll get to in a little bit later. Obviously, the U.S. men's soccer team hiring the big name coach that we've been wanting and clamoring for ever since that they finally got rid of Greg Berhalter after an embarrassing Copa America showing back in July. But first and foremost, obviously, is the Paris Olympics. It officially ended on last Sunday. It was certainly an event that drew a lot of criticism, both on and off the event itself. Certainly, the opening ceremony drew some a weird criticism from the right wingers for that we touched on it on our last show that we did together about 2 weeks ago. And certainly throughout the tournament, it was a little bit overshadowed by the unfortunate situation involving the boxer from Morocco, Imani Sharif.
She's from Algeria.
Who?
Stephen.
Yeah. Oh, Algeria. My apologies.
And
Imani
also
Sharif.
Taiwan. There was also a Taiwanese boxer too.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Both females, but both. Athletes, unfortunately, were a nasty target of.
And both won gold medals, by the way. They both won gold medals.
Ironically, it propelled them. Yes, great for those two boxers to overcome such hatred from, the right wingers online, and perpetuated by none other than Elon Musk, J.K. Rowling, who has certainly tarnished her reputation. A lot of people now know her as an embarrassing, an online perpetrator of, trans hatred, more so than the amazing work that she did on the Harry Potter series, more so now, as well as the YouTuber, Jake Paul, who also added fuel to the fire, and now they are, thankfully, Imani Sharif has decided to take matters against after receiving such a backlash that she should not have received, and it's unfortunate that some of these things were overshadowed.
I wouldn't say
their accomplishments got overshadowed. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that it overshadowed the games, but yes, this controversy did pop up quite a bit. But as you mentioned, I do want to show a video if I can find it here. I just saw it.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and find it here for you. Go ahead and yeah, I was just unbelievable about what happened to both boxers. Both of them. It was just ridiculous. Also, Katie Ledecky received some of it because she doesn't look feminine, it doesn't look like
exactly right.
She was called a man.
It was such ridiculous for whatever reasons. Just because you're dominating the sports and somehow you don't look, if you don't look feminine, and I don't even know what the hell their own version of feminine is.
Right.
Just they would automatically assume and make up some ridiculous claims online about them being accused of, having sex changes in order to dominate sports, and all that kind of stuff that has really no ground, or they're just basically, drumming up some fake outrage for whatever reasons. So, it is it's unfortunate but I'm just glad that there are Imani Khalif, excuse me, I said Sharif, but Imani Khalif is taking matters into her own hand, considering that she was attacked and she was almost may have been had her life in danger to a degree.
Yeah.
The boxer that you were referring to, I believe, is it Chen Chen?
Yeah, and you can see this is the video, by the way, of Khalif returning to her home after the Olympics. You can see the hero's welcome that she's receiving, Stephen. So just a great thing to see. I just think it's wonderful. So you can see how she was treated, and I just think it's great. The fact is that she was
redemption.
Redemption. So I just think that you can see that she's a wonderful boxer, and the fact that as you mentioned, we talked about this before, the International Boxing Association, which was kicked out by the IOC because of their ties to Russia, were the ones that made this misinformation about the two Algerian and Taiwanese boxers, and unfortunately, the Christian right, latched onto it, and they still continue to latch onto it, even though that the quote it was just the fact that the misinformation passed along by the Putin's puppet that is running the IBA. And the fact is, the IOC kicked them out because of this, and they're running boxing now. The IOC didn't do the boxers any favors either, but until Ren's statement, until almost too late, but allowing the boxers to compete, and they won gold medals, and it's kind of like a little bit of redemption for both of them.
Absolutely. It's kind of ironic that Imani Khalif defeated the Taiwanese boxer. I forgot the name of the boxer that I was looking at. That happened to be the silver medalist, I believe, right?
No,
if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Oh no.
No, they both won. They're not in the same classification, Stephen. So they both.
They're not in the same weight class. My apologies, Dan.
No, they both won gold medals. So, and I really
well, even better. That's even better. Overcoming such a massive obstacle for both of them to to get to where they are, and I'm just so happy for both of them that just so nice that she has the courage to stand up to bullies like J.K. Rowling's and again Elon Musk and Jake Paul's of the world. Now even Fox News has been implicated in this lawsuit that she has filed against them, and good for her. I don't know how this lawsuit will turn out eventually, but it's good for people to finally stand up and push back against the these two clowns who have tarnished their own reputation just to use their own platform to instigate such an unnecessary hatred that directed towards Khalif and the Taiwanese boxers, as well as the Kate Ledecky, the U.S. Female swimmer, of course, Katie Ledecky. That is. I was trying to think about the name of the U.S. female rugby player who was also unnecessarily attacked because of her, built, and then being accused of being a trans or whatever. It's just a little bit of a silliness that totally dominated this the sports unnecessarily.
but it was just, it was just
Okay,
distractions.
it was a little bit overshadowed, unfortunately, because of these people. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. But I will say that overall, I really have to say NBC did not mention the controversy when the Taiwanese boxer, won her gold medal. She just mentioned that she won a gold medal and didn't mention any of the controversy. BBC, which I watched extensively, did mention it. I don't know why NBC just chose not to. They just said, "Oh, the Taiwanese boxer won gold medal." And they didn't say why. They didn't say why she was famous, and they didn't say what the controversy was. So, aside from that blemish, NBC did quite well. I've been a critic in the past. NBC did well with their live coverage all throughout the day. Molly Solomon, who is the executive producer of the Olympics and someone who I've talked to in the past, she convinced, and Jonathan Tannenwalt and I talked about this briefly on Tuesday, about the fact that she changed the culture inside NBC, which had always been stressing primetime as the tonnage for the main way of watching the Olympics, while the rest of the world watches it live. In this particular Olympics, NBC showed everything live, and then used primetime to make a reality element by adding some footage, and also adding some packaging. And it worked. It worked. So this was one of the most watched Olympics, especially online. And for NBC, they got a very good. They averaged overall 18.9 million viewers, both online, total audience delivery, what they call it. I predicted in a little contest that was run by Programming Insider, I said 18.7 million, and I was closest. So I'll take. I want jokingly. I said on Twitter I wanted everyone to salute me, but I don't want that. I just want to say that I'm very happy that that I got close. But in any event, a good Olympics for NBC. They did a very good job in covering the Olympics and providing the tonnage. I don't think, as far as controversy is concerned, about the transgender controversy, that they didn't mention it at all. I didn't like that very much at all. They did go on the Jordan Childs controversy, which we can discuss a little bit later.
Oh yeah.
But overall,
man, that was so sad that the double standard of ruling between the U.S. and the so-called interest group that that was representing somebody from the Romania in the past most of the time. So there was a bit of a misunderstanding, with the Jordan Childs situation. Unfortunately, it should have been just basically settled for both sides getting bronze medal, which obviously
both sides did. And actually both the USA and the Romanian Gymnastics Federation both said, we will share the bronze medal. We are willing to do that. But it's just really silly about the federal, about FIG, which runs gymnastics, and also the IOC for not, saying, and also saying that the U.S. coaches filed their protest in regard. Now, this is in the floor exercise when Jordan Childs actually finished fifth for the gold medal, for bronze medal. Simone Biles finished second, and Rebeca Andrade of Brazil finished with gold. The United States filed a protest in regards to challenge the points. And originally, Jordan Childs finished fifth behind two Romanian gymnasts. The points that they eventually did review it, and the judges did give the Jordan Childs third due to their what they said was they missed an element in watching the judging. The judges missed an element, so they said, okay, we will elevate Jordan Childs to third. The Romanians filed a protest, and then the people, the FIG, the Federation of Internationale de Gymnastique, then said that the United States filed a protest. Coaches said we're 4 seconds late. You have a minute to do so. But then the United States said that they have video evidence showing that the coaches filed the protest in 47 seconds within the minute. I mean, it's all ridiculous. Jordan Childs has been stripped of the bronze medal. She's handled it very nicely. She hasn't said anything, but she released a statement last night in regards to it. I really feel that if Romania and the U.S. are willing to share the bronze medal, That's what the IOC and the federal and the FIG should do, but they're not doing it. They stripped Jordan Childs. They award it to the Romanian, but also the SCIS, the Court for International Sport, which actually rules on this, did a very bad job. And they're basically also the United States coaches say that the Court for International Sport sent email to the wrong address so the United States couldn't appeal. So this is all a mess. It's a mess. It's stupid. It's a controversy that probably be worked out. If you remember earlier in the Olympics, the United States figure skating team, which was awarded originally a team silver medal in the team competition from Beijing, got their gold medal after one of the Russian skaters was ruled to have been doping, and they didn't hand out any medals right in the 2022. They finally got their gold medals in the middle of the Paris Olympics. They got their gold medals in the ceremony at the Eiffel Tower, which is very nice. But again, this is a mess. It'll probably be resolved in sharing the bronze medal. But for now, the Romanian gymnast will be the bronze medalist. It is one of the dumbest things stories that has come out of the Olympics. It's one of the dumbest things that the Court of International Sport could do. And I really have a feeling that the IOC could step in and say, hey, look, let's give them both bronze medals. But there are officials that are hiding under their desks right now, Stephen. It's really stupid.
Exactly. And this isn't something that, again, the sports officials, the IOCs and the incompetencies have ruined the sports or the athletes themselves at all. It's unfortunate, but there's one good thing that came out of it. I'm sure the U.S. Lawyers, they're good at when it comes to litigations, and they're just probably whoever they're going to be representing or about to get involved in this, they're probably licking their chops right now because they're so good at these things anyway compared to, other people. So we'll wait and see what happens, and eventually, I do believe that they'll settle and then give bronze medal to both sides, which probably should have been, in the first place. So maybe it might take another few weeks, few months, who knows? But hopefully this gets resolved. And
these take years. The IOC is a very bad organization. We've talked with Jules Boykoff in the past about this. The IOC is really corrupt. They'll take a couple of years to figure this out, or maybe even 4. Who knows? But they don't. Like I said, they're an organization that hides. Officials hide under their own desk. They like to line their own pockets. Thomas Bach is leaving. We don't know who's going to replace him as IOC president, but this goes.
Good. Thank God.
This dates back to when Avery Brundage, who was basically anti-Semitic, and ran the IOC with an iron fist. It took a long time to get him out. Luckily, there's a 2-term limit as president now. So Thomas Bach announced that he would not run. He would leave after this Olympics. So next year we'll have a new president. It could be Sebastian Coe, who runs World Athletics. I wouldn't mind someone else. I wouldn't mind to see a woman in there. There are people like Angela Ruggiero, who has been a part of the Olympic movement. I wouldn't mind seeing her there as well. But we'll see who runs for president. It's probably Seb Coe has the insider's track, unless someone else comes along to take the position. But anyway, overall, I have to say a very good Olympics. And as we mentioned, as Stephen mentions there, both the men's and women's basketball team defeated France to win the gold medal. The men's, after having a very shaky exhibitions period, pre-Olympic period, where they almost lost a couple of their games, they finally got it going. They did have a tough game against Serbia. Really should have won that game, Stephen, to be honest with you.
Serbia should have won that game.
They were up by 11. They were up all the way throughout the half, but then the United States with LeBron James and also Steph Curry coming in to win that game. And the United States women, they should have lost that game to France in the gold medal game. That was their coach, who is the Minnesota Lynx coach, and also had some disparaging things to say about Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark went into the WNBA. Now I know everyone's going to say, well, Caitlin Clark should have been there. I'm one who said that, she needs to earn her spot on the team. But
Yeah.
I will say this: had Caitlin Clark been on the team, I don't think the United States would have looked so sluggish against France. But I'll say this: the United States and the men's and the women's both got their gold medals. The men had a little bit easier path, except for the one against Serbia. The United States women, I don't know, they seemed to sleepwalk throughout the entire time, especially against France. That game, France should have won that game. I'll be honest with you, France should have.
If it wasn't for that last shot that France made, that
was a
3-pointer that was supposedly tied, but unfortunately the shooter's leg was on the 3-point line, so it was unfortunately counted as 2. So U.S. women's, there's no question, they dodged the bullet in this one. It was a sharp contrast between two sides. Obviously, the level of competition and everything, that's understandable, but you're not going to see the U.S. dominating opponents where they used to beat teams by like 60 or 70 points back in maybe over 20 years ago, when the dream team was assembled. You're not going to see them blasting Angolas of the world by 70 or 80 points now. Those days are long over. I think the sooner the fans understand that the level of competition has gotten so better international side, where you see the likes of Jokic, Antetokounmpos of the world are starting to come into the NBA and dominate now. You have to give international games a lot of respect. There's no question about it. The host country, France, with Victor Wembanyama, and you had 2 French players being drafted the first 2 overall in this year's draft. You're going to see more of that happening. And, quite frankly, with the LA 2028, 4 years from now, the U.S. certainly has to, step up and do do a much better competition. There's no question, Steve Kerr got a lot of criticism for handling his rosters, with the Jason Tatum 0 minutes stuff, that certainly Jason Tatum's mom taking exceptions and stuff like that. So there was a little bit of problem.
Bill Simmons needs to shut up. Okay, he's a charlatan. He needs to shut up. I've never been a big Bill Simmons fan, but yeah, Jason, I will agree that Jason Tatum should have played a little bit more. But you know what? People won't remember Jason Tatum sitting on the bench. They'll all remember the United States winning the gold medal. They actually had an easier time once they finished off Serbia. There was really no doubt that they were going to beat France. They were pretty much up on them for about mostly by double digits for most of the game. Mostly not 20, but they were in the teens, 11, 13 points. They had a mostly comfortable lead, and the United States got the job done there. But the United States women, I really think that they need a better coach who understands the international game. I think Steve Kerr understands it. I just think it was the execution that was a little bit poor. But as far as I forget the Lynx coach's name, but she just did not seem to understand.
Cheryl Reeve or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think she really understood the concept of international basketball. Okay, right. It's a lot of threes. It's a lot of passing. It's a lot of it can't get ugly because it can't get it can get physical. But you know what? There was just times during the game against France that I'm just watching, and I say, you have athletes, you can run, but she just chose this half-court set, which I didn't really understand, Stephen. And that's what allowed France to stay in the game, because a lot of European game, a lot of the international game is based on the half-court set. And if you're not going to run, if you have the athletes and you're not going to use them, if you're going to have, instead of allowing your players to run and you have the athletes and you have the people who can shoot and shoot 3-pointers from way outside, and you're not going to do it, and you're going to allow France to get confidence. That's exactly what happened. So and it's a game that could have easily ended the United States run of seven. Now they've won 8 consecutive gold medals, dating back to the 1984 games in Los Angeles, Stephen.
Right.
I didn't understand. Of course, Caitlin Clark should be there in 4 years. So should Angel Reese. So they should be there. It should be a much I don't want to say easier time. Depends if the same coach comes back. If she comes back, I really fear for this team because she doesn't understand the international game. As far as the men are concerned, we won't have LeBron back. LeBron, I don't unless he decides. Who knows? LeBron, we can't judge on what LeBron will do. LeBron does what LeBron does. I didn't
Exactly.
I didn't think he would come back for these games, but he was motivated. And he was a great leader on this team. Steph Curry should be back, I believe, although he's getting older too. But there should be Jason Tatum should have a little bit bigger role, I think. But again, it all depends. It all depends who that coach is. USA Basketball likes to. The one thing I liked about Mike Krzyzewski when he was there, he was the coach for several cycles. Okay, and he was able to told the coach. He said after 2004, when the United States lost the gold medal, and they just thought that they could throw anybody in there, they realized they needed a cohesive team. So he had the same team. He had Kobe, he had LeBron, he had all these guys that come in and were in the same team and made it consistent. So when they were in the Olympics and in the World Championship, in the basketball World Championships, they were all consistent. They had that chemistry together, and Mike Krzyzewski made that and made it and did it right. The United States need to have the same type of concept. You saw the rustiness, especially during the pre-Olympic games, Stephen. The guys just didn't have any chemistry. They didn't have work together. They finally got it going when they got to France. But I really think that getting a bunch of guys together, making them one team for maybe one cycle, the World Cup, and the Olympics, putting them together. Off season, you get practices together. When you get the time to, have those international competitions, you get them together, you get the chemistry going. And that's what Mike Krzyzewski did. And I think that's what they need to do again for 2028.
I'm very curious to see if Steve Kerr will be back, to take over, 2028 LA. I know there were some reports that Kerr might be ready to step down. I know he's been, he's had health issues in the past, so I'm not sure if he wants to. I'm sure there's a greater pride in representing your country here in the United States 4 years from now. But I think there's also a possibility that Eric Spoelstra, the Miami Heat coach, who's been an assistant, is probably ready to take over. Maybe there's also a possibility that Danny Hurley, who's had tremendous success with the UConn basketball program in recent years, could be also somebody that could, be brought in, as a possible on an assistant role in this next cycle. There's, certainly a lot of changes in the roster coming up. KD could be gone. LeBron, who knows? Steph, there's no question. I think he'd be back. The talent wise, I think, Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic, he's also eligible to represent Italy, but I think representing US is probably offered him a greater opportunity to win medals and certainly give him an opportunity to win immediately. That's a name to look out for. The other names to think about certainly is, LaMelo Ball with the, Charlotte Hornets. Certainly right. There's a name to remember. Cade Cunningham with the Pistons. Obviously, the Pistons has been in just a absolute disaster the last couple of years, with the poor management and the coaching staff. He's certainly a great talent, but certainly somebody that could emerge in the next 4 years to remember. Tyrese Maxey with the 76ers, somebody who should have gotten probably some serious looks there. Tyrese Halliburton with the Pacers, who basically didn't get the any minutes, although there were reports saying that he had some injuries in his legs. So basically he was just sitting at the end of the bench and got the gold medal for doing absolutely nothing. He took it on social media and posted some funny stuff there, but he took it in stride. Tatum, as you mentioned, he said that how he dealt here in Paris certainly does not impact his decision to represent 2028, which is a good thing. And the draft class, this year, 2024. Very interesting to see if anybody from that class, obviously considered one of the worst draft class in the history. Certainly a lot can change between now and 4 years. The players who can emerge and guys who are probably the tail end of their careers. There's going to be some, youth, young players being infused into this lineup. No question. I'm sure that, a lot of guys would like to play here in America, but at the same time, you really, really have to start developing a newer generation of players to be injected in order to, play more fast and aggressive basketball on an international level. So I'm very, very curious to see what the U.S. men's and women's basketball team will look like in the next 4 years moving forward, and who is certainly going to be the head coach. Winning medals certainly, looks good on paper, but overall, there's going to be some evaluation that needs to be done and decide who is best fit to lead the squad in LA 4 years from now. The medal count certainly was very interesting. The U.S. and China both tied for the medals. In terms of the gold medal count, obviously, in the 40s, but overall the U.S. certainly dominated the rest of the competition overall. I'm very curious to know that the medal counts, the tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff. I know somebody was mentioning when I was listening to a radio here in Detroit area where I'm now, maybe the best way to determine these tiebreakers or sort may not should be the gold medal counts, but basically should adopt the point system for the medals. So gold medal 3, silver 2, the bronze 1, and then just basically, determine the outcome on the medal counts. Tell me, Ken, is the medal counts somewhat overrated in this day and age, or do you feel that those things are still
it's still important around the world? See, the United States is the one that is the only country in the world that does overall medals. Everyone else counts it by golds, which is the way. So, like, if you watch BBC, if you watch Australia, if you watch CBC, they'll all rank them by gold medals, and then the overall medals are a little bit I don't want to say ignored, but they just say that they just weighted everything is weighted more towards gold medals. So, like when the Australia and the United States had their duel in the pool in swimming, and I talked about this with Rowdy Gaines a couple months ago before he went to Paris. He mentioned to me that the most important for Australia, especially in that swim meet, was for the gold medals. They don't care about the overall medals. They don't care about it's great to win silver, it's great to win bronze because you're on the podium, but the most important thing for them was to defeat the United States as far as goals were concerned. The United States actually edged out Australia in swimming by 1 gold medal. So it took them and then, interestingly enough, it took until Bobby Fink to win the only individual gold medal for the men, whereas the women had several. The United States women's swim team had a lot of golds, and of course there were the relay teams, which also racked up the golds there too. But I will say that the most important thing for Australia in that swim meet was to defeat the United States in gold medals, not overall medals. So the rest of the world weighs it that way. The United States is the only one that, because they care about that, they say overall medals because the United States usually wins that no matter what. It doesn't
exactly
matter. So, but I will say this: the rest of the world likes it with golds. England, especially in 2012 when they had more, I think they had 25 golds because there were the home games. They were very proud about that. Australia had 18 gold medals this year. They were very proud about that. A lot of it in the pool, but they also had 3 in that in the kayak realm as well, and also one I think in cycling, a couple gold medals in cycling. So a very good games for them, the best probably since Sydney in 2000, and also Japan had a very good Olympics too, Stephen. So they did. I mean, I think Japan swept one competition. I forget which one it was, Stephen, but Japan, I think overall finished 3rd in the gold medal in gold medals after the United States and China. Then was followed by Australia, France, and then
maybe
the Netherlands.
3rd or 4th, absolutely, within for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so a very good games for them, especially after coming off Tokyo. Usually the home country does very well, but I think actually Japan finished in more gold medals this year than in Tokyo, because Tokyo didn't have the benefit of a home crowd because of COVID, and there were empty stadiums for the most part. But I will say that overall, China, they swept table tennis as usual. They swept diving for the first time this year. There was the tainted gold medal in swimming, of course, as well. But overall, China had a very good games as well as the United States. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in 2028 with a home games. And of course, we have the Winter Olympics in between 2026 in Milan and Cortina. It'll be fun to watch. And, we like to watch these things, Stephen. You and I both like to watch the team competitions and international competitions because that's the way we are.
Absolutely. And now moving on to the LA in 2028, certainly a couple of competitions are obviously being removed. The much controversial what is it? Break dancing. Break dancing. It was one and done, unfortunately, not because of the ray gun situation, but certainly the whole controversy involving Australian competitor, and the news that is coming out that is in an unflattering matter that she and her husband rigged the competition to make it favorable for them.
Also, she's been getting a lot of harassment online, which isn't necessary. She came home to Australia and she was actually given a very nice welcome back. I just wanted to, it's not. I don't care about whether she rigged the competition in her favor or not. She's well known as a break dancer as a B girl in the competition. She's well known by her fellow competitors. So if they embrace her, and she didn't have a good games, but if they embrace her in a competition, if her competitors embrace her, and the breakdancing community embraces her, that's fine by me. Everybody didn't feel that she gave it her all or whatever, and she went viral for it. But overall, like I said, if the community, if the breaking community accepts her, then we should too.
Absolutely. And the other important thing to remember in the upcoming Olympics is the possibility of baseball being brought back here, and certainly the MLB allowed their players to compete in the Olympics. It'll be very interesting. I know the players have made it clear that some of them certainly wanted to play. Very interesting. Whether maybe Rob Manfred finally came in, and maybe there's a possibility that the All-Star game might be canceled in order to allow the MLB players, not just in the United States, but also from other countries to participate in the Olympics. This may be a one-time thing, because it's here in LA, but I'll be very curious to see what the decision is going to be, and if the players are wanting to make that voices loud and clear. If the opportunity is there to make more money, and if God forbid, if baseball wants to make money other than just glorify that so-called international competition and World Baseball Classic, which takes place in 2026, by the way.
Yeah, this is as far as I know. This is what I know. Casey Wasserman, who is helping to run the LA games, he made a great.
And also the Wasserman Group, head of the Wasserman Group representation agency, right? Yes.
Yes. Yep. So he made a suggestion to Major League Baseball and said, "Hey, look, let's instead of having the All-Star game, let's have you're going to take basically 5 days off anyway. Let's use those
Right.
5 days at the Olympics, have a competition, a 5-day competition where we have like an 18 tournament. Um, as we all know, the soccer tournament is, instead of having a major tournament, they have like 12 teams. Let's have an 18 tournament, have it over 5 days, and we can run it in both San Diego at Petco Park and at Dodger Stadium and also at Anaheim Stadium. So you can have it run in 3 stadiums, and or basically Anaheim and in Los Angeles, and then have the finals at Dodger Stadium 5 days, and then have it run that way. Major League Baseball has rejected that. The Players Association actually has welcomed that and said we like that idea because we're going to be off anyway. Let's have some of the best competition and it showcase the game. And if that way we can get baseball into further Olympics down the line using the All-Star break. But unfortunately, Rob Manfred has shot that down. So, and again, Rob Manfred hates baseball. He is a man who doesn't like. I mean, he's done some thing. I give him credit for doing a lot of things like the rule changes and making the game faster, and but there are things like the ghost rule, the ghost runner rule on second base. That's got to go. But again, something like this, as you mentioned, because baseball isn't going to, MLB is not going to get money from it. And this has been what the issue with the NHL and the hockey running and taking break for hockey. They're going to come back though in Milan, but again, it's baseball. It would be a great thing for them to have that, but they're not going to do it. Also, too, Stephen, about softball, which is definitely coming back. Instead of going to be in Los Angeles, it'll be in Oklahoma City, which has the facilities out there. But I really feel bad because a lot of many of the United States players would like to be part of the LA competition, be part of the LA games. They're not going to have that because they're going to be separated out in Oklahoma City. Also, other sports that will be coming in, we're going to see lacrosse. We're going to see T20 cricket. And I believe flag football. So those are going to be the sports.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The NFL is going to be heavily involved in that. We'll see. Most of these sports will probably be one and done. Softball is hoping that they can get back into the Olympics. They were there for 1996 through 2008 before they were dropped by the IOC. Baseball was also dropped at that time. So we're hoping that, we'll see those sports back. And then we'll see what happens with the other sports, lacrosse and T20. And, it is a lot. It's going to be a very heavy docket. There are going to be a lot of sports. We'll see if any of those sports survive for the next cycle, which would be in Brisbane in 2032. But baseball might and softball because those are very popular sports in Australia. But we'll see what happens, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. NFL is definitely going to feature the flag football or 7-on-7 competition front and center. Some of the players have made it clear they want to be involved in it. Very interesting. Because you had 3-on-3 basketball where the U.S. Was completely out of their own elements, even with the former NBA players participating in it. I don't think that Tom Brady is going to suddenly, get out of the retirement stage and play for the United States by any shot. But certainly, very interesting to see, which players or even former players decide to get involved in this. I'm sure, with the season just around the corner, they do not want to see the, stars, like Patrick Mahomes or even Tyreek Hill, who has made some noises about wanting to play in the flag football in 2028, get injured, suffer any small injuries, whether it's a hamstring or just a broken finger or whatever. You don't want them getting involved, just with the preseason and also the, the regular season just around the corner. But I'm sure that the NFL will do all they can to support the endeavor while MLB wastes away the opportunities. So I'll be very, very curious to see what the 4 years is going to look like. Certainly we got a little bit of a glimpse in the closing ceremony with Tom Cruise's acrobatic stuff. Over the Hollywood sign, we also saw Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, Billie Eilish, and Red Hot Chili Peppers performing on the stage there. It will be. I will guarantee certainly a lot of celebrities, actors,
Oh yeah.
actresses, entertainers performing, all over the field. Certainly, pretty. The
And
opening ceremony will certainly likely reflect a lot of heavy Hollywood influence for sure.
yeah,
Just a matter of who's going to be involved, and we can all speculate the next 4 years from now. So
and
it would
because
be very, very interesting to see.
yeah, because NBC is be broadcasting it. I'm sure the Real Housewives of Los Angeles will be part of it or something like that. The reality shows and all that, and maybe even Below Deck. Who knows? But it'll be fun to watch. It'll be interesting. But let's see what happens over in LA. It's going to be some interesting stuff over there. Also, surfing. They have plenty of places to do surfing. While France shipped out surfing to Tahiti, we'll see what venues going to be using in LA. Steven, let's
Absolutely.
quickly
Yeah.
go over to one other thing before we go. The new manager, Mauricio Pochettino, finally comes over. That's something that I was talking with Jonathan Tannenwald with earlier this week, and it seems to be a very popular choice.
Absolutely. This was a dream hire for many people, next to former Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp was approached, but turned it down after stepping down from the Liverpool position. Supposedly after being on the job for consecutive years, over a decade with both Borussia Dortmund and then Liverpool, nonstop for more than a decade. He decided to take time away from the game. Certainly, it would have been a lot of people's number one choice in Crop, but I believe this is the next best hiring for me. Mauricio Pochettino is a Argentinian manager. Recently coached your team, Chelsea. But left on unceremoniously after starting slowly. Took the team into a sixth place finish. Finished very, very strong, but somehow, the way Chelsea is being operated these days, it was just a short one and done, unfortunately. Yeah. But overall, he has a very strong resume. He took Tottenham Hotspur, another team that is always, not live up to its own end of the bargain. Took them to the Champions League final against the Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool back in 2019. Fell short, unfortunately. He also coached at Paris Saint-Germain. Dealt with the egos of Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, and also Lionel Messi there. Took them, I believe, to the Champions League final there as well, if I'm not mistaken. But so they won the title there. Certainly not a big man. Doesn't have a huge title on his resume other than winning the Ligue 1 with Paris Saint-Germain, which is obviously easy when you have that many talents there and the backing of Qatari investment fund behind it. But this man is a no-sense coach, somebody who has done a great work working with the younger players, and certainly, in the light of a disastrous showing at Copa America and the 6 years of terminal damage that Greg Berhalter has left on the United States soccer and the minds of the U.S. soccer fans. This is a welcoming change. This is the quote from Brad Friedel, the U.S. soccer legend, on the hiring of Mauricio Pochettino.
We are incredibly compassionate to the players that play for them and work hard for them. No nonsense. The players better beware of being unfit. His tactical session is probably harder than most MLS sessions that are out there. He will not put up with passengers that just think that they deserve to be there. Everyone, including whoever someone thinks is the best player, let's call it Christian Pulisic, they'll all have to earn the right to be there with Mauricio. There's no, favorites. But I got to tell you, once he has his team together, it's such a good environment, such a positive environment, such a really good working environment, that it's very difficult for players not to enjoy playing the football under him. Tactically incredibly astute. I would say, if you want to do like the social, the physical, the technical, the tactical, go into all that, I would say one of his strongest traits is he goes into like the belief and the compassion about what his project is, and that's his biggest strength. They are.
Oh, excuse me. So, it's going to be a reality check for the United States men's team, and they definitely need it. After being coddled 6 years under Greg Berhalter, who has never shown any sort of astute when it comes to player selection, as well as a tactical, flexibility in his 6 years on the job. It's going to be a breath of fresh air for under Pochettino, and the players better be ready. As Brad Friedel said, without mentioning any names, certainly the conditioning of the players, were a lot in question, especially Tyler Adams, who was injured and barely, unfortunately, with the Premier League season kicking off, starting today. He's not going to be out there playing for several months. Weston McKennie looked like a linebacker, during the whole tournament. Has looked out of shape, and now it looks as though Juventus is giving him another shot at playing for them this year. Christian Pulisic certainly has to, lead by example, playing for AC Milan under a new head coach. It's going to be a reality check for a lot of these guys. If you're not playing, you're not going to get any minutes with the United States men's team. And with the first game in September against Jesse Marsh of Canada, there's not much time, available. He hasn't signed a paper yet because he certainly still has. Well, actually, I should say Chelsea owes him money that needs to be resolved, which should not be a problem according to many insiders out there. So, with only about less than 2 years and maybe a handful of international games to give U.S. preparation. Very, very interesting to see how this team gels and how this team responds. And certainly a kick in the ass or a reality check is going to be needed. I think a lot of players will hopefully embrace Pochettino. I think a lot of the guys who play overseas knows Pochettino, from the Premier Leagues and everything. So very, very curious to see how this team gels and moves forward, Ken.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see it too. As Jonathan Tannenwald said, during in games, the manager doesn't have much to do aside from making replacements and making halftime adjustments. But before that, he has to do a game plan. And Greg Berhalter showed very often how ill-prepared he was by not giving us a game plan or having a game plan that would just be basically a strategy of once you get a goal, sit back and just hold on for dear life. So I think Pochettino, and I've seen it with Chelsea, has a much different tactics. He's always prepared, always has a good game plan. I liked what I saw from Chelsea, especially from the end of the season. You may remember earlier last year, I was very exasperated and said, look, let's just go to relegation and get it done with. He avoided that, got him, as you mentioned, the 6th place. They're going to be in the Europa League. So that at least makes a good accomplishment for Chelsea. And what he can do with the United States, let's see what happens. I do like the fact that he's not going to play favorites. He comes in with a fresh slate. He's going to look at these players kind of like Emma Hayes did coming in from Chelsea also, by the way, with the team, and basically saying, okay, I like you. But I'm going to use my horses. Alex Morgan, you've been great for the team. You're just not what I need right now. And you're going to be not going to the Olympics and you want a gold medal. Now, I'm not going to say Pochettino will do the same thing. Okay. He's got a little bit different situation here with the United States men, because he's coming in he's got a mess over there. He's got a real mess. He's got Gio Reyna. He's got a whole bunch of players here who are having a bunch of situations. And as you mentioned, got coddled by Burkholder. Hey, if he has to hold open tryouts and say, hey, look, none of you have a job right now. You're all going to have to practice. You're all going to have to audition. I would welcome that because they have to earn their spot. And I would love that. I would love to see that because, this team needs an attitude check. It needs a whole type of check. Now, I'm not saying that this happened, but, you want to clean a country club atmosphere out of your team. And you need to and if your players hate your team, hate your coach a bit, and just hate them to the point where they unite against the coach and play better, then so be it. So I wouldn't mind that at all.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think Pochettino is not going to make it that way, but he's not going to be a tyrant because in this day and age, you can't do that. But I think at least he has an opportunity here to show the players who's boss.
Yeah, it's the U.S. team overall got a reality check. This past summer, the Olympics. They were ousted by Morocco 4-0 in the quarterfinals. It's been an S show of a summer, as somebody said, for a U.S. men's team compared to the United States women's team. I'm sure Emma Hayes, obviously crossing path with Pochettino at Chelsea last year, played a role in recruiting him. Obviously talking about the inside information about the soccer in this country, the situation with USSF and the U.S. men's team and the soccer fans in this country. Emma Hayes certainly has already won fans over. Pochettino could do the same here in America as well. With the Latino communities and Latino fans, certainly has an opportunity to attract more Latino fans to the U.S. soccer. Obviously that has not been a good thing. That has been a massive weakness with the U.S. Soccer Federation trying to attract and bring their game in front of a Latino fans as well. So very curious to see. Hopefully they'll sign the contract and hit the ground running on September against the Canada and Jesse Marsh and the international friendlies up there. All right, a couple of quick hits. I wanted to tell you.
I think this is the last one because I got to go.
Absolutely. Shocking news out of ESPN. RG3 and Sam Ponder both got fired with a couple of weeks shortly before the NFL season starts. What do you make of the news of these two firings and the timing of it?
Well, it's interesting timing. Sam Ponder is the host of Sunday NFL Countdown on ESPN. That's basically the only thing she did. She used to be a sideline reporter for college football. She also had a feud going on with David Portnoy of Barstool. Interestingly enough, Portnoy said this week that he had basically made up with Samantha Ponder. The timing is interesting. Again, ESPN does what ESPN does. They did this last year with letting Susie Colbert go. And before the NFL season, which made Scott Van Pelt the host of Monday Night.
Monday Night, right? Yeah.
So Samantha Ponder, what's interesting is that even though they've both been fired, Robert Griffin III he was also on Monday Night Countdown. He was replaced this season, by the way, to make room for Travis Kelce.
Jason Kelce. Yeah.
But what's interestingly enough is that even though they got fired, they're still going to get paid. They're going to get paid for the rest of their contracts, which I think still has a couple of seasons to run. So if they want to work somewhere, they're going to have to negotiate an out with ESPN. So they're going to get paid to work for. I find it very strange. If you're going to fire somebody, you fire somebody and you just give them a severance. ESPN just chose that. You know what? You're going to be paid not to work. Just go away. And Samantha Ponder has had some interesting things to say about transgender as well. Some people are latching onto that. I know Sage Steele had a statement about that. Sage Steele, who was, of course, a former ESPNer and has latched on to conservative and right-wing media as well. But, to talk about their replacements, we know Jason Kelce is going to be replacing RG3 on Monday Night Countdown. That was so basically his days were probably numbered there. replacing Samantha Ponder on Countdown. The names have come up is either Mike Greenberg, who just seems to do everything on ESPN and adds nothing. But then the other
Yeah.
possibility is Laura Rutledge, who I think is a perfect choice because she hosts NFL Live during the week and also SEC Nation for the SEC Network on Saturdays. I think it's probably a logical progression to allow her to do NFL Live and then do a Sunday morning countdown. So I think that would be a great choice. If it's Mike Greenberg, I mean, I never watched the show anyway because I'm usually working on Sunday, Stephen. But if I were off, sometimes I would flip over to Sunday NFL countdown because, the crew is, add some interesting takes. They will pretty much ensure if Mike Greenberg gets hired to host that, I would pretty much never watch that show. Let me just put it this way. When he was hosting the show with Mike Golick, Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio, they did a special morning live show at Foxborough Stadium to welcome in a new ESPN affiliate in Boston. I did an interview with both Mike and Mike. I found Mike Golick to be more engaging of a personality than the Mike Greenberg. That's my opinion. And I think that because I think he's kind of like ESPN's this generation's Chris Berman. For them, ESPN, he can do no wrong. He is like one of those people who's a company man. He does everything he wants. They ask him to do. And, I just think he's devoid of personality. He did the NFL draft a couple of seasons after Trey Wingo was let go.
Yeah.
So, and I just don't think he did a very good job of it. So we'll see what happens. I would like to see Laura Rutledge, but then again, ESPN, I don't work for ESPN. I am not in their management. I have no inside track. They do what they want to do. And if they want to bring in Mike Greenberg to host Sunday Night NFL Countdown, that's their choice. And they just won't get a viewer in me.
Yeah, I don't go to ESPN for like a Sunday during NFL seasons. I usually look at Fox or CBS pretty much like everybody else is. Very interesting timing. Certainly, I know RG3 posted some weird photos of him and his wife at the Paris eating, giant croissant on the end of each other. Certainly, RG3 went on Twitter to support the Algerian boxer Imani Khalif, saying that she's a woman. This also comes in the light of when Kirk Herbstreit says that he's done holding back on talking about the transgenders and sports and stuff like that. I don't know if that had any influence since RG3 also does the college football, role in the Saturdays during football season as well. Very, very interesting timing. I like the RG3. I'm sure he will land somewhere very, very quickly, and I'm sure he will do a very good job wherever he ends up landing moving forward. Well, Ken, on that note, we'll go close it up. Thank you so much for doing this on a Saturday morning, afternoon, and we look forward to doing this again on a regular basis like we used to do. On hopefully Wednesday nights like we've done in the past, and I'll check back with you on your availability moving forward, because I know you have a new role within the current job you have. So obviously the availability needs to be clarified there as well. But we thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. Wherever you are, thank you for watching us on this live stream. It's great to be back doing live stream with Ken, and obviously with the NFL season just around the corner, that's going to be our main focus, as well as the the baseball pennant race down the stretch, obviously. So the dog days of summer, sports wise, is only just a few weeks away, hopefully, and then come September, it's all football. NFL and college football. So hopefully we can help you get through those dark days of the sports summer. For Ken Fang, I am Stephen. Oh, sorry about that, Ken. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have a guest next week. I kind of hinted at this with Jonathan Tannenwald. If NBC PR goes through and also the guest is able to come on with us, I will let you know on social. We've been on with us before, so hopefully we'll get him. I texted this person when he was in Paris, and he said he'd be willing to come on with us. So I think that's a hint on who that person is. I won't say anything more, but hopefully he's available and come on with us. We'll talk to him about what happened in Paris and what could be his last games in Los Angeles for NBC. I think I gave you a really, really big hint there, but hopefully we'll get that person on with us, and we'll look. If even if he doesn't come on next week, we do have plenty of opportunities to get this person on. But again, looking forward to having him. Hoping to get him on next week.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully everybody will have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to having you on back to our live stream channel. I'm Stephen Negishi along with Ken Fang. We thank you for watching us, and then we'll hope to see you again on our next live broadcast.